Welcome back. Today we're going to be learning how to multiply rational expressions. All right, so let's start off with this problem here. Let's say we got 5x plus 10 over x minus 30, and I want to multiply that by x squared minus 9 over 5. Well, your first step for these is to factor your numerators and your denominators if they can be factors. So the 5x plus 10, I can rewrite that as 5 times the quantity x plus 2. My denominator, x minus 3, is prime, so I can write it as 1 times the quantity x minus 3. And then we'll multiply that by x squared minus 9, which is a difference of perfect squares, so it factors to x minus 3 times the quantity x plus 3. And then my denominator on my second fraction is just a monomial, so I can't really factor it, so I just leave it as 5. So now, you're going to see if anything can cancel out. Anything on top, any factors on top that match any factor in the denominators, you can mark out. Even if they're not above each other, they can be diagonal from each other, like these two 5s. So this 5 here will cancel that 5. This x minus 3 will cancel that x minus 3. And nothing else cancels out. So what we do is we just multiply straight across. And I always want you to leave the answer in factor form. So we're going to have quantity x plus 2 times the quantity x plus 3 over just 1, which is just itself. So the answer would be the quantity x plus 2 times the quantity x plus 3. And again, just a reminder, don't FOIL that out. I want the answers in factor form, so I don't want you to multiply them out. All right, so that was a not too bad of one. Let's try another one. So let's look at this one. Y cubed over 2y squared times 4y squared over 6. Well, on this, all our numerators and denominators are monomial, so they're basically factored already. So you can just cancel out common factors. So we got like a y squared here, that will cancel the y squared up there. 2 can go into 4 2 times. This 2 here on top can mark out with a 6 and become a 3. Now nothing else cancels out, so what's left on top? Y cubed, and on the bottom would just be 3. So my answer is y cubed over 3. All right, let's try another one. Let's look at this one. 4x squared over the quantity x plus 2 squared times the fraction x squared plus 3x plus 2 over x squared plus 1. All right, so again, start off by factoring everything. So when you got a monomial, you really don't need to factor that. You can just leave it as 4x squared. Here we got the quantity x plus 2 squared, so I can rewrite that as the quantity x plus 2 times the quantity x plus 2. It's easier to think of it this way. You could have left it as the quantity x plus 2 squared. And now we need to factor my numerator here. Well, we got a leading coefficient of 1. We ask ourselves what multiplies to be 2 and adds to be 3. Positive 1 and positive 2. So this factors to the quantity x plus 1 times the quantity x plus 2. And now if we look at our denominator over here, I got a binomial, got 2 terms. It's not a GCF, so it can't be factored, so we can just write it as 1 times the quantity x squared plus 1. Now I want to see if I have any common factors. Well, I got an x squared plus 2 here. I can cancel out this x squared plus 2. This x squared here will not cancel with that x squared. Because this is 4x squared, this is x squared plus 1. So they're different values. And then like this x plus 1 here, it can't cancel with this x squared plus 1. They're different and not the same. So nothing else cancels out. So our answer is just 4 x squared times the quantity x plus 1 over the quantity x plus 2 times the quantity x squared plus 1. And again, leave your answer in factor form. I don't want you to boil that out. You're just doing extra work. I don't want you to do that. All right, let's try another one. Let's say we got a problem like this. X over 2x plus 4 being multiplied by x squared plus 2x. Well, the first thing you should notice is the first one's a fraction, the second one's not a fraction. So if you think back to middle school, when you are multiplying a number times a fraction, what you do is just put that number over 1. So the first thing we're going to do is just put that over 1. So now let's factor our numerator here. Well, it's a monomial, so it can't be factored. Let's factor our denominator. We can factor out 2. So this will be 2 times the quantity x plus 2. Multiply. Let's factor our numerator over here. I can plot an x. So then I get x times the quantity x plus 2 over 1. And then this x plus 2 will cancel up that x plus 2. These two x's here are both on the top, so they can't cancel each other out. So you can't mark out the x's because they're both in the numerator. If one of them would have been the denominator, then you could cancel it. So we're just going to multiply across. And when you do have monomials, this is going to be the only time I do want you to multiply them together. So if you have a binomial bigger, you're not going to multiply them together. You just leave it as factor. But when you got a monomial times a monomial, go ahead and multiply together. X times x is x squared. And then at the bottom, you got 2 times 1, which is this 2. So my simplified answer is x squared over 2. All right, let's do one more, and then I'll let you try to do some of these on your own on today's assignment. So here's the next problem that we're doing. So again, this is like the last one we did. One of our things that we're multiplying by is not a fraction, so let's turn it into a fraction by putting it over 1. Can you factor the quantity x minus 3? Nope, it's prime. So you can think of it as x1 times x minus 3. And then on the bottom, you just got 1. Can't be factored. Over here, x plus 3, you can just leave that as 1 times the quantity x plus 3. And then on the bottom, x squared minus 9 factors to x plus 3 times x minus 3. Let's see if we have anything that cancels out. This x minus 3 will cancel with that x minus 3. This x plus 3 cancels with that. Basically, everything cancels out. What's left over on top, we got 1 times 1, which is 1. On the bottom, we just got 1. 1 over 1 is 1.